Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Everyday Heroes podcast. This is episode 50, and it is a solo episode. And today I want to share with you something so special, something that I've been really working on in the background for quite a while now. Something that is magical and exciting, but something that I've poured my heart and soul into, which I hope that you are able to enjoy and find as useful as I have found creating it. So, guys, drum roll, please. We are creating the You Are Seen community. Now, it's so different to so many other communities out there. I know that you can jump on a whole bunch of different Facebook pages, and there are loads of autism Facebook groups out there that give support and guidance and, what to do with your child. But this one is different. And the reason why it is different, the reason why this community is different is because it's about the parent. It's about you as a mum, you as a dad, how you show up in this world and how you can take care of yourself. Now, maybe people will disagree with me. I find it maybe not so much, but raising an autistic child, raising any child, right? Let's just take the diagnosis out for a second. Raising a child is hard. It is hard. There is no playbook. There is no manual. No one knows what they're doing. Everyone is just trying to read as many books and listen to as many podcasts and trying to wing it. But what if we gave you a community that you could come and fill your cup with? Now, this is so different. I want to take you back for a second. Just pump the brakes and rewind to when your baby was born, when your child was born. You gave birth to this child, and what happened was you were automatically put into a mother's group, right? You were automatically put into a group of other mums going through the exact same thing. And you would meet once a week and you would laugh and you would cry and you would try to swap notes about what was working and what wasn't working. You would, deal with the fact that you knew for a fact that, so-and-so was up in the middle of the night breastfeeding their child or changing that child's nappy. You took comfort in that. You found that you were less alone. And when you felt scared and worried and upset, you knew you had a group of women that you could tap into. You knew that you had a chat, a group chat, a connection with these women who were going through the same thing as you that you could identify with. And this is where this community is so relevant. When you get an autism diagnosis for your child, it's very much, here's a pamphlet and be on your way. And there's nothing else. And I understand pediatricians are not they're not there to look after the parent. Totally. They are there to look after the child. And thank goodness that we do have them. But as a parent, we need to make sure that we are looking after ourselves. We need to make sure that we are doing the things that we need to get done so that we can pour back into our child. Now, I could rattle off and sit here and tell you a million different things as to why this membership is so important. But I want to share one really big thing. When you are raising an autistic child, it's going to happen. Your child is going to become dysregulated. This is not news, right? This is not scientific. We know this is what's going to happen. The problem is we, as a parent, as a mum, we use ourselves as a co-regulator, a person who co-regulates with our child. We use ourselves to co-regulate their emotions. We use our energy, our vibration to co-regulate with them so that they can get back on track and become regulated again. But then what happens when we become dysregulated? Who's looking after us? Who do we go to then to co-regulate? Because sometimes if we're mum and we go to co-regulate with dad and dad is stressed out from work and he's not coping, he's not going to be able to co-regulate with you either. And if you go to another mum who's also stressed out, she might be able to co-regulate with you, but maybe not as well. We need to be able to fill our cups to get back into regulation And it sounds so much easier. It's like, I wish I could say to you, you know what, run yourself a bath, put some bubbles in there, get your glass of wine, you'll be fine. Not always the case. Now, I don't know about you, but there is a transference of energy when you speak to people. Even if you aren't if you're online, it doesn't matter whether it's online or in person. There is a specific transference of energy, which is very well documented in a lot of scientific journals, where we talk about, you get off, imagine you're calling your best friend. She makes you laugh. You're having the best time. You're laughing so hard that you're about to wear your pants, right? And I know that you had those conversations, and you hang up and you feel so much better than what you did before you had the call. It is the exact same thing when you come into a community like this. You're bringing that energy. You're co-regulating with me. You're co-regulating with what it looks like to get that energy back up and running. And that is not always easy because we're time poor. We don't have enough energy ourselves to even ask the questions. Maybe we don't have the clarity to ask the questions. And sometimes that doesn't happen straight away. But being in a community where you're watching, where you're learning, where you're listening, can help you really come into your own. It can help you move yourself into a place where you can eventually ask the questions. You can eventually come out of fight or flight and then move towards getting more clarity for your child and for you. Because when we are in fight or flight, there's so much noise, there's so much fogginess, there's so much that uncertainty that we don't even know which way to go. So how do you know which way is the right way? How do you know that you're moving in the right direction? This community gives you stability. It gives you certainty. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you that place of knowing that I can tap in, I can come into this group and everything's going to be okay. I can ask the questions, I can get the answers. And if the answers aren't there, we can refer. We can get you to other people. There are so many options out there, but most of the time, no, most parents don't know that these options are even available because they don't even know what to Google. I know for a fact that because I have done it myself, sitting in front of the laptop, Googling, but what do you Google? Are you Googling autism? Because you're not going to get much. Like you will get some, but you won't get what you're looking for. Unfortunately, the way that Google is designed is that you need to ask the specific questions rather, to get the specific answers. But what if you don't know what the specific questions are? How do you ask? How do you ask what the specific questions are if you have no idea? And it's only through learning, through hearing other people's journeys, through understanding what's happening out there that you can truly get a better understanding of what your child may need and what, most importantly, what you need. Because, mum and or parent and child, we go together. We go together. One does not come without the other. I often say to my clients, it's all good and well to have speech and OT, but if mum is supplementing with alcohol or drugs, how is she supposed to be present in that session to be able to come home and put that homework into place? If she's crying her eyes out every night, not knowing which way is up and down, how do you then move through that to be able to come out the other end and be empowered? Going back in my journey, I reckon I would have paid someone to send me, you're doing an amazing job every single day. Someone to just light me up again, because I was in such a dark place. I was in such an awfully heavy space where I didn't know what to do. Bearing in mind, if you haven't heard my story, just a really quick summary, I lived in 4 years of shame and blame. I didn't share my son's diagnosis because I was afraid that people were going to judge me and that they were going to judge him. I was afraid that they were going to turn around and say, you are the worst mother because you caused this. I honestly thought that that's what they were going to say. And so I was too scared to share what was going on for fear that somehow I would be condemned, that he would be condemned, that we would be isolated and shunned from the community. It was almost, in my mind, it was almost like he had leprosy. Like we couldn't tell anything because like just keep it under wraps, like make sure, like let's seem typical, right? Because that's the aim of the game. Let's pretend that everyone's typical. And that just leads to a whole lot of hurt and a whole lot of burnout. And I know this because I've been through burnout multiple times, and I don't want that for you. I wish I could have come into a group like this to be able to speak to other women going through it, to cry and to be validated that what you're going through is heavy and hard. And sometimes it's scary and it's sucky. And I wish that it wasn't as hard. But sometimes knowing that someone else is going through the same thing gives you a sense of camaraderie. It gives you a sense of knowing that you're not alone in this, that we're in it together and it's going to be okay. And some days you are going to have to call and be like, I'm not coping today. And I've drunk a bottle of wine and I've eaten a whole block of chocolate and I'm now just don't know where I am. And that's true for so many mums that I speak to. It's true for so many parents who are scared and alone, who don't know which way to go. And so the reason I created this community was because I wanted it for me. I wish that I could have done a rewind and given it to myself back when I was going through the diagnosis with my son. I wish I could have been in a place where I could have been validated more, because it was different being validated from a friend of a typical child versus a friend raising an autistic child or a child with special needs or a neurodivergent child, however you frame it. It's different because you truly understand. You truly, truly understand what it looks like, and the heartache and the heartbreak and the hard and the messy and the house not looking spectacular all the time, right? And you're just trying to get out of the house in leggings and probably a jumper that's got, no doubt mess stains and food stains on it. You've got bags down to here because you haven't had any sleep. And you're just surviving. You're like literally just surviving on the bare skin of your teeth. You are just trying to get through. But what if that's not enough? What if we need more? What if, as a parent, you're looking for something to top up your soul? What if you're looking for someone to really pour into you the way that you pour into your child? Because I really wish that I had that for me. I wish I could have had someone pouring into me so that I had the energy then to pour into my child. I wish I had the strategies. I wish I had the tips and the tools. I wish I had the books and the confidence to know even just a speck of like, yep, I'm on the right direction. Because as parents, we choose a direction not knowing if it's the right one or not. We choose that direction because that's the direction that looks the best to us. And we're going to go with that because we really don't know what else to do. Sometimes it's nice to have a chat with a parent who has a child who's older than yours. Sometimes it's nice to meet with other women. And I say women, and I need to clarify this. I say women because they are 99% of my clients. Most of the autistic families that I meet, and I have spoken to a lot of families, mums are the ones that are at home with the children and dad is out there working. And it's simply because dad earns more money. Now, is that always the case? No, of course not. It's a generalization. Dads are most certainly welcome in this group, but they form generally more of a minority than they do of mums. But they are still going through the same thing. They are still going through the heartache and the heartbreak and the sorrow and the worry and the heaviness that they feel that they can't help their wife. So dads, you are most certainly welcome in this. But I want you to know that it's not okay that we go through a pediatrician, that we get an autism diagnosis, and then we're left to our own devices. That's not what I want for us as parents. I want us to come together as a beautiful group. Now, the reason why this community is so amazing, it's got freebies that you can download that have helped me in the past. There is a weekly thread. and you'll love this. You'll love this. It's a weekly thread that I pop out, and you can get free mini coaching. Goes for about anywhere between 20 minutes to half an hour. You can get, this is no strings attached. There's no like, oh, know that you've done a free mini coaching. Do you want to come into my page? No. There's no strings attached. There's nothing else. I just know what it was like to walk this journey, and I don't want you to cry an ocean of tears the way I did. I don't want that for you. I want you to be thriving, because when you're thriving, your child is thriving. And I have seen it time and time again with myself, with my clients. I don't do it because I'm trying to get a paid offer. I'm doing it because shame on me if I didn't. Shame on me if I didn't give you this membership, this community. Shame on me if I didn't give you a space for your voice to be heard and seen. That's the whole point of my business. You are seen. I want you to be seen. There are so many people seeing your child, right? Your speechy, your OT, your teachers. Like, there are so many people who are seeing your child for all the brilliance that they have. But who is seeing you? Who's seeing you for all of your brilliance and all of your light and all of that energy that you create, and the endless hours of research and learning through books and talking to people and finding the right way? Who's seeing you? Because, when we're in corporate, we're getting like you're having your yearly review, you're getting a pay rise, you're doing a great job, keep it up. No one does that for you when you are raising a child, especially a child who's autistic rather, because no one's there to support you. No one's there to say, good job, here's a sticker, here's a high five, here's a raise. Although I would like a raise if someone could give me a raise. But we want that space to be inviting. We want that space to be where you can ask questions, that you don't have to feel alone, that you can query what's happening. Am I on the right path? Is this the way? Do I need to change something? I had an encounter with someone at the park, and now I feel like the worst mum ever. My kid hit another kid, and now I just don't even want to go out of the house anymore. Maybe it's easy to just stay at home. If you were in front of me right now, I know for a fact if I said, put your hand up if that has happened to you, I could see a whole sea of hands go up. We need to start pouring into us so that we can pour into our children. You can sit there all you want and pour into your kids as much as you want, but eventually that cup will run dry. It will absolutely run dry, and it will crack, and it will break. And we need to look after ourselves. And I know you heard the analogy about putting the oxygen mask on first. Great. And I've used it many times. But in this community, it's practical. We're not talking about like, this is so much fun to do and meet up and like, we can all feel all fuzzy. Yeah, cool, great. I love that. I love that for us, that we're going to feel all fuzzy and warm. But there's also going to be practical tips. There's going to be things that are going to help you on your journey. There are going to be things that are going to make you think, okay, if this is not working, what else should I be doing? Tapping into what's going on in here rather than what's going on here. Because when we get an autism diagnosis, I guarantee you, we're living up here way more than we're living in here. And this can be a very scary place because it takes us into places we don't want to go into. And so if you're not controlling this, if you're not the one that's in control, it will take you to some places, some very dark places, which I do not want for you. Have I been in those places? 1,000,000%. And I'd like to know that I think there are a lot of parents out there, particularly mums, who have been in those dark spaces and maybe still are in those dark spaces. It's not enough to just wing it anymore. It's not enough to do it on your own. Oh my Lord, don't do it on your own, because I've tried and it's debilitating and it's heartbreaking and it's sad, and you worry. You're worrying all the time. Am I doing it enough? Oh my goodness, that is the biggest one. Am I doing enough? Because it feels like you're never doing enough. I don't care if you've got all the ticks and all the crosses and dotting all the I's, it still feels like you're not doing enough. But at one point or another, we have to draw a line in the sand and say, yeah, this is enough. This is what it looks like to be enough. And most mums don't have that. We are so critical of ourselves. I cannot believe the amount of hatred that we have for ourselves, the amount of anger and rage that we have, that when we belittle ourselves, that we should have done it better. We should have done it this way. We should have, seen the meltdown coming. We shouldn't have fed him that. We shouldn't have gone to that party, blah, 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 blah. Insert the, specific narrative. Impossible to have all of your fingers in all the pies. However, we can get so much better at anticipating what's coming up if we know what's happening here. It starts with you every single time. It starts with you. Your child is, again, they're co-regulating with you. If you are off kilter, they cannot show up for you. You can't show up for them. We go together. So this is why this community is so important. And one of the things that I'll be launching in it is weekly Zoom calls. Weekly Zoom calls just to come in and have a chat. No coaching, we're not going to be just doing any specific coaching because that's going to be happening on the thread that I post earlier in the week. This is just hey, how you going? Grab your cuppa, let's chat. What's going on? Because sometimes mums don't have a big community to talk to. For some mums, not all, but for some, raising an autistic child means they get isolated, they lose their friendship group because there's a myriad of reasons, right? Maybe they feel alone. Maybe they feel like they can't take their child out. Maybe the child elopes. Maybe the child is aggressive. Maybe they feel like they're being judged. The stares. And don't get me wrong, the stares happen regardless of how old or young your child is. It's your reaction to it, your response. Because for too much of our time as mums in particular, and I say that because Lord knows, as mums, we live in here so much. It's incredible. You don't find, most guys don't live up in their brains as much as we do, right? We are constantly were they looking at my kid this way? Are they judging me? What's going on? I don't understand. It's whether you decide to respond or whether you decide to react. That is the golden question in anything. If you are reacting, there's the explosion, there's the anger, there's the frustration, there's the sadness, there's the reaching for the booze or the reaching for the drugs, or it's I'm just done and I want to run away. But if it's the responding, it's I understand that this is what's going on. I cannot control my child's actions, but I can respond the way that I want to respond. Easier said than done. I must say to you, easier said than done. But if we can get to a point where we can control what's coming up for us, we can then take charge. Now, there's a book out there called The Body Keeps Score, and it most certainly does. It most certainly keeps score, because for so many parents, something will come up. And a perfect example of that was the blog that I wrote this week, which was looking at the uniform that will never be worn, right? A child, for so often, parents, especially in all major cities in Australia and no doubt overseas, you put down your child's name on the private school list, maybe handing over some cash flow to secure the spot. And then it probably more so even before the child is born. And then the autism diagnosis comes and you realize that that school is not the right fit for your child. And you grieve that yet another grief, another loss Another thing that you have to notch on the belt to say that my child won't do that. A beautiful reframe, though, would be, would he or she thrive in that school? Probably not. But it's still changing that mindset around what you imagined your future to be, or how you imagined life to be when you were thinking about it when they were 10, 12, 15 years old. And for some parents, it's easier to push it down. Don't think about it. I know it sucks. Push it down, push it down, push it down. We're not dealing with that right now. We're going to just keep going. And that the body will most certainly keep score. And you'll either get sick, you won't be able to co-regulate with your child, you will probably not be able to co-regulate with your partner, and everything just feels heavy. You've lost the creativity, you've lost your spark, you've lost your fire, you've lost your passion, you've lost the joy in life because you're over here wishing, hoping, not really sure, through your tears and through your heartache, hoping that life was going to be different. I say this because I had to mourn that. I had to mourn that idea that he was going to be this, that, the other. Not easy. But with practice, with being around beautiful souls, being in a community where you can truly show up and that there's no judgment, that is where you want to be. That is how you can fill your cup. It's not okay and it's not enough to just look at your child and be like, okay, what do we need to get done for Billy? What are all the therapies that he needs to get done? Where is he lacking and where do we need to give him the most support? Great for Billy. But what about mum and dad over here? I see so many clients come through the doors who the marriages have broken down. You know, they are on the edge of their seats. They don't even want to be in the same room as each other. But before all this stuff, they were in love. There was so much love and so much kindness and empathy. And now that has all gone away because we're under huge amounts of pressure and stress. The community will give you that. The community will give you that support that you need, the feeling that it's going to be okay and we can get through this together. And I don't have to do it alone anymore. And I know that I can ask the questions to be met with a beautiful response. I can get free coaching. I can get free resources. There's so much to be offered in this community, and I just hope that this resonates. I hope that it gives you the same amount of certainty that I know I needed when I was raising my boy. A place where I could come and strip off all the armor, take it all off. Take off this armor that we wear in public because we need to be ready. We need to be ready to fight. We need to be ready to take on the world. And we can't show our vulnerability because vulnerability sometimes can be mistaken for weakness. So when someone says something hurtful, instead of rebutting, maybe we're just going to laugh it off because it's easy. And then inside, we're just going to be like thinking and stewing about all the things that we could have said to this person. Don't be on the edge. Don't be waiting for someone to come and save you. Come in. Use your actions to come in and join a community that is going to be there to support you every step of the way. There are so many things planned for this community that I want to share with you, but I won't because there are still more things to come. But know that it will be an ever-evolving place, a place where it's only going to get better, a place where feedback is most certainly welcome, a place where we want this space to be open and generous, to know that you are there to be supported, that you can pour into you and feel like you're whole again, not broken, because you're not broken, my love. and neither is your child. We just need to pour into you a little bit more. So I wanted to share with you the website that you can register and you can come into the community. So, and I will put this in the links when I upload these onto socials as well as on the YouTube channel. But if you go to www.resources.youareseen.com.au/YAS, so obviously stands for You Are Seen, community. So I'll say that again, resources.youareseen.com.au/YAS community. You can jump on there, you can join in, and let's get this party started. Let's pour back into you. Let's make sure that you are the best version of yourself so that you can show up for your kid, show up for your family, show up for your typical children. We need more support for parents. There's so much support out there for children, and thank goodness that there is. But by golly, we need support for parents. We need a space where they can come together and really shine. So, guys, let me know your thoughts. I read all of my messages, so come through, send a message through. I would love to have a chat with you. If you've got questions about the community, please send me a message. I would be more than happy to jump on a Zoom call with you and let you know a bit more information. Jump on the website. That will give you a lot of information already, and I will chat to you soon. Until next week, I will talk to you then. I love you guys. Bye.